Chapter 8, Part 2. But I don't drink blood. I'm not a vampire. Not anymore. Jess was trembling in shock. In the entire year since she stopped drinking blood, she'd never been so tempted. She had no idea why it had come on like this now, but it was almost out of her control. She pressed her tongue against one sharpening canine, trying to restrain it, trying to get some relief from the stress. Her upper and lower jaws were aching fiercely. I can't. It's unthinkable. If I do it once, I'll never be able to stop. I'll become what I was back then. I'll be lost. I can't. But I have to. I need to get back in the game. Morgan was staring at her. Now what's wrong with you? I. Jess was dizzy with fear and longing and the sense of danger. She couldn't see any way out. And then she saw it. Here, she said, unbuttoning the collar of her shirt. You bite me. What? It satisfies the requirement. Blood has to be spilled, and it's the leader who does it. You're the leader, idiot. Not until I'm back in the game, and I'm not back in the game until blood is spilled. He was staring at her, his eyes hard and demanding, and not amused at all. Jazz, that's ridiculous. Why? He was too smart. She didn't dare let him keep thinking about it. Because I think it's the proper procedure. And because I overfed last night. I don't want any more. She stared straight into his eyes, not allowing a muscle to quiver, trying to force her version of the truth into his brain. Morgan blinked and looked away. Jazz allowed herself to relax minutely. She had one advantage over Morgan. There was no way he could even imagine her real motives. She just hoped he wouldn't discern the human flavor to her blood. If you won't tell me, I give up, he shrugged. So fine. If that's the way you want it, it is. Whatever. He turned back to her and reached for her shoulders. A new shock rocked Jazz. Morgan never hesitated once he made up his mind. But this was a little unnerving. His grip was a bit too firm and authoritative. Jazz felt out of control. And how am I going to shield myself? She thought wildly, clamping down on a new wave of fear. He's already a powerful telepath, and sharing blood increases rapport. How am I supposed to block that? Everything was happening too fast. She didn't have time to plan or think. All she could do was try not to panic as Morgan drew her close. Jerk. He's had too much experience at this. Part of her thought furiously at, at subduing any kind of prey, at gentling scared girls, human girls. He was holding her lightly and precisely. He was tilting her chin back. Jess shut her eyes and tried to blank her mind. And now she could feel the warmth of his face near her skin. She could feel his breath on her throat. She knew his canine teeth were extending, lengthening, thinning to needle points. She tried to control her breathing. She felt a swath of warmth as he licked her throat once, and then a pain that made her own teeth ache. His teeth had pierced her skin, sharp as obsidian. Then the release of blood flowing, her life spilling out. The instinctive twinge of fear Jess felt at nothing to do with him invading her mind. No vampire liked to make this kind of submission. Letting someone drink your blood meant you were weaker. It meant you were willingly making yourself prey. Everything inside Jess protested at just relaxing and letting Morgan do this. And maybe that was the answer, she thought suddenly. A wall of turmoil to cover her thoughts. Pretend to be too agitated to let him make contact. But his lips were surprisingly soft on her throat, and the pain was gone, and he was holding her more like a lover than like a predator. She could feel his mind all around her, strong, demanding. He wasn't trying to hurt her. He was trying to make it not terrible for her. But I want it to be terrible. I don't want to feel like this. It didn't matter. She felt as if she were being pulled by a swift current, dragged and tumbled into some place she had never been before. Sparkling lights danced behind her closed eyelids. Electricity crackled through her body. And then she felt his mouth moving gently on her throat, and the world fell away. And that is the end of chapter 8.